Well, Susan, I'm so glad we could chat today. Thank you so much for meeting me. I'm Carmela, and I'd love to hear a bit about your business and how you started your business and where you first got the idea.
So I'm Susan. I run Settled Petals,
Yeah.
and I've been running it since 2018. I'm a social worker by background. I've also got a degree in education, and I've worked with children and families my whole life. And I'd always wanted to be a social worker because I wanted to help people. So I've worked with in social work in like a lot of different areas, but always with families, foster carers, and adoptive parents. And the last job that I had was with leaving in aftercare, which was 16 to 25, where before that I'd always worked with younger kids. And what I started noticing was when children were finding sleep difficult or regulation difficult or feelings of safety and the ability to calm when you're feeling things were difficult, it made everything in life difficult. So I actually did all my training. I became a baby massage instructor, a baby yoga instructor, a kids yoga instructor, and a sleep consultant. And I really wanted to initially integrate them within the trust. And I was a team manager, so I was trying to manage my team, trying to do all the legal requirements, and it was a really demanding role. And then I was trying to implement like kids yoga and all of these different things. And my ambitions were probably too much. But I came home one night and I said to my husband, I wish I could just do all of those bits. And he said, why don't you? And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't. And at the time, like sleep consultancy wasn't really a thing here.
Okay.
And there was only one other person in all of Northern Ireland doing that. So I decided to just have my notice in and see what worked.
Okay.
And thankfully, the business, I could see the need was really there. And lots of the clients I was working with sleep were then saying to me, oh, we've now got issues with toilet training. And there, at that time, there was no toilet training support in like the entire island of Ireland.
Okay.
So I thought this is an area that people really need support with. So
Yeah.
I did the training in that as well. And that it all kind of came to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many years ago was that now that you decided to go off on your own and start this petals
Coming
business?
up to eight.
8 years
Yeah,
ago. Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So,
And what were some of the difficulties when you started up?
I knew a lot about children and I knew a lot about supporting families.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about business.
Okay.
And I actually think it's probably good. I didn't realize how much I didn't know.
Okay.
So that would probably be the main thing. And I
Yeah.
learned as I went, and that worked.
Okay.
But I had no business experience. I literally just had children and family experience.
Okay.
So that was probably the big thing I realized.
Okay. Very good. So you've been helping parents who are having trouble sleeping and their children aren't sleeping well. So you're
Yeah,
helping to get the children into a routine of a healthy sleep pattern,
yeah.
basically, and then also helping them with potty training.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I also now train, so that'll evolved over the years.
Yeah.
And so I also train people to become certified sleep consultants, body consultants, baby
Uh-huh.
massage instructor, baby yoga instructor. And I also have a course on trauma informed sleep, about the link
Okay.
between trauma and sleep,
Very good.
and as well as the one to one work. And although the training is very popular, I feel really passionately that I want to always keep doing my one to one work because
Yeah.
that's what I do
Yeah.
for family.
Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant, brilliant. Well, I'm here talking to you, especially to give anyone following our channels the opportunity to get to know you and what you do and to be able to find you and what you offer. And I would also love to tell you a bit about this app that I'm starting called iCanMum and iCanDad. So I think you probably have a lot of thought on, what it's like for a working mom and, what your own experience has been because this app that I'm starting is especially to support moms and dads, whether they're at home or whether they're working, whatever they've decided to do, to give them their support to be able to, plan their time and their energy as a mom or dad and to work together as parents as well. Or if they're a single parent, just to be able to cope with all that they have to do and the mental load of parenting. So, maybe you could tell us a bit about what it was like for you as a mom, starting this business?
Yeah, so when I actually started, I hadn't yet become a parent, but I
Okay.
knew that I really wanted to.
Yeah.
And the job that I had was really demanding, and I was thinking, how would I actually do this? It was
Yeah.
another big motivator for me.
Okay.
And so the first year or so, it was just obviously me working away, and then
Yeah.
I was pregnant, so that had its own set of challenges because I was running baby classes. Didn't want people to know I was pregnant yet, but
Okay.
was had really big issues with the morning sickness.
Yeah.
Luckily, mine was kind of later in the afternoon, evening, but you were kind of holding it together. So that was probably the first real challenge.
Yeah.
And then it moved on to when I was 16 weeks pregnant, lockdown happened, and I
Okay.
was like, I can't go into people's homes now. And I had always gone into people's homes with the sleep and the toileting. So I switched the entire business around to make it online.
Right.
And then I thought, well, I'll have this baby and I'll come out and, get back to work. And self-employed maternity leave is not great.
Yeah.
So I took like a really small maternity period. And when I came back at 5 months, I'd done a kit dive in that interim time, so you never really switched off. But when I came back full time at that 5 months, to work nights,
Yeah.
evenings, weekends, I was already pregnant with my second child.
Okay.
So then I now had a baby at home, and I didn't use childcare, a business, and I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So things that I found that I really had to adapt both my energy and how I work and when I work,
Yeah.
depending on the stages of my kids.
Yeah.
So I've gone from no kids to pregnant to having one child pregnant, and then having two under 14 months
Okay.
and keeping the business going.
Yeah.
And there's all been various stages. So like now they're 4 and 5. I kind of work when they're in playgroup or P1. I'm working evenings and weekends. And where when they were really little, I was working their nap times and evenings and weekends when my husband was home. So it's been about adapting.
Yes. Being flexible is so
Yeah,
important, isn't it?
yeah,
So when your baby was little and then you had your second on the way and you had to look after your second as
yeah,
well, it was so good that you had that flexibility to kind of adapt and, work around nap times and
yeah.
when they were in bed and things like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
there were times I would see like a mum at a coffee shop that was clearly on maternity leave and go,
Yes.
oh my goodness, imagine just having to think about the one thing.
Yeah.
But you know what? I love the work that I do, and
Yeah.
I realised actually, although the downtime that I've had as a mum is probably not been what I would like to have been,
Okay.
it has allowed me to be both a mum that's available
Yeah.
and also to run the business that I want to do.
Yeah.
And also because I support families, it's good to have the real experience. Every family I'm speaking to has a juggle.
Okay.
Everybody has got,
Yeah.
something that they're trying to kind of figure out. And I've also been a mum who's got a juggle. There's
Yeah.
also things you're figuring out.
Yeah.
So like that relating and the empathy, I feel like I'm a parent that helps parents, which is
Beautiful.
really nice.
Yes, that's what I want to be as well. I feel like there is a huge mental load with being a parent and just the constant trying to remember everything that you want to give your children and that you don't want to forget so that they get what they need and
Yeah.
just trying to remember all that while at the same time taking care of yourself and what you need yourself and
Yeah.
all your other responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So
Oh,
yeah, definitely. So I want this app to be basically you open it up and you answer your questions, just your basic profile about, if you're at home full time or if you're working full time or part time, if you work in the office or if you work at home, and and then balance that along with the kids and their school. If you're, going through traditional school, if you're homeschooling, if you're in daycare, or it's just whatever the arrangements might be. And then you also answer questions about, what you like to do for fun and for me time and for exercise and, how much sleep would you like to get,
yeah.
things like this. And so, and then, also you'll answer questions about what do you like to do with your children? What's your favorite things to do with them or how do you like to spend time with them or what do they really like to do with you?
Yeah.
And, and basically, um, the app will be there to support you to just slot into your schedule all those things that you find important.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you go to the traditional calendar like Google Calendar or whatever, it's basically just you open it up and it has your meetings and your
Mm-hmm.
appointments and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. But you don't get the opportunity to, actually, put into that calendar, I need to change the sheets today, or
Yeah.
I need to wash the towels, or I need to go grocery shopping or cook
Yeah.
dinner and all those type of things. So this app will offer that to parents and let them just have all those things they need to remember just slotted in
Yeah.
automatically. And
Brilliant.
then it will also share it between, your partner, and you'll
Yeah.
be able to both see what needs to happen and kind of support each other as a team that way. Or if you're a single parent, just to use that in entirety on its own. I hope that this will be a support to parents who are in
Yeah.
a similar position to us, that, you're just trying to do so much and to juggle so much. For years I was just a full-time stay-at-home mom for 14 years. And, my husband was working a lot. So even though I wasn't juggling a job at the same time, there was so much to remember.
Yes.
Even if you're the one at home,
Yeah.
I found even as a stay-at-home mom, sometimes you need ideas as well for what to do
Mm-hmm.
while you're home with your kids.
Absolutely.
Because you kind of sometimes you're there, maybe without a car. We just had one car for a while, and from 8 in the morning to 6 at night,
Mm-hmm.
and you're kind of out of ideas. What do I do now? So
Yeah.
so the app as well will give suggestions and ideas
Great.
of simple things you can do when you're out of ideas, just
Yeah.
to try and keep the day interesting.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So that's what I'm hoping for.